Welcome, one and all, to the K.O.E. Nation for a very special single malt Scotch review. I am the devilishly handsome outlaw himself, your king of extreme Phil K.O.E., the lord of the Scottish Highlands, the prince and potentate of the political parlance, the conqueror of the ethereal, the emperor of the big bucking empire. My kingdom expands. And I am joined by my indomitable broadcast partner, the one, the only,
Tony G. Like, share, subscribe, folks.
And we are here to review a very, very interesting single malt Scotch whiskey. And this is from the Campbelton region of Scotland, one that you and I don't have a lot of experience in.
No, basically not. And this is a big one for me because the Campbelton region of Scotland used to be one of the biggest regions of Scotch distilleries in the world. But recently, that is not so much the case. I believe there's only like a handful of distilleries left.
Maybe just above a dozen.
If that. And it's not one we're super familiar with. Like, we know the Speyside, we know the Highland.
Oh, do we ever?
Unfortunately, we do know the Islay and the Peat Monsters. This is one of those, the Campbelton region.
We haven't tried Jura yet. They could still impress.
The Campbelton and the Lowlands kind of dip their feet in the water of the Peat Monster, but this isn't that.
So,
but
yes, you're seeing the glasses of extreme make an appearance.
This is one of my absolute favorite age statements. This is a 15-year. This is Glen Scotia. This is one of the most respected names in terms of Scotch when it comes to the Campbelton region.
So on the box here it says, Glen Scotia 15-year-old is an exceptional single malt whiskey produced at this historic Campbelton distillery and gently matured in our finest American oak barrels before bottling. Its signature nose has hints of we'll get to that.
Yeah, don't really.
Campbelton is a small town in the Kintyre Peninsula on the west coast of Scotland, affectionately called the Wee Toon. Once home to over 30 distilleries, it was known as the Victorian whiskey capital of the world, with Glen Scotia one of only 3 distilleries that survived through to the present day.
There you go.
So quite a history distillery.
The Glen Scotia had recommended me.
History in a glass.
The most was the Glen Scotia Victoriana, I believe. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things that really entices us the most about Scotch is the fact that we live in small town, rural United States, Nebraska, and thinking about just how prominent distilleries are in Scotland. It's just very, very...
Yeah, like, while here...
Right here.
Around here, it's a labor of love.
Exactly.
And it's just like a couple of people getting together, while in Scotland and Ireland, it is a huge undertaking that brings the whole town together.
Exactly.
And so, again, like we were mentioning Jura a second ago, it's the whole town, pretty much, is this distillery. And so...
And this is an entire region that we've never dipped our toes into.
Yep. So, I figure, I don't really feel like hopping on a plane anytime soon, T. So this is as close as we're going to get to the Campbeltons. So,
not that it'd be a big drive from the Highlands or the Lowlands or the Speyside.
I know. I'm just not planning on getting on a plane anytime soon.
All right, the 5-mile drive.
Excellent. So
let's see how it smells. Insanely sweet.
Vanilla, oak.
This is like if you took a
bit of wheat. Like,
a
grain not the grain, but like if you were just to smell the wheat stalk.
I'm thinking.
Now, granted, my grandma's from Kansas farm country, so
this might be an awful insult, but if you took the grain stalk and poured Splenda on top of it, like fake sugar, this smells like a fake sweetness to me. I'm sorry, it does.
Well, so you're kind of getting like a candied sweet?
Yes and no. Yes, but no.
So I'm getting a lot of vanilla. You're getting candied
It's
sweetness.
a robust sweetness, but it's a forced sweetness.
I'm also getting the lightest hint of peat.
Yeah, there's a little bit of peat there, and we're not a big fan of peat, so.
But we will see how
if we can do this right, you got a chance to change your mind.
We shall see.
All right.
Bottoms up, folks.
There's the peat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not there at first, but it's there.
No, yeah, it settles in. But it relaxes your palate. The sweetness is there. It's not honey. It's definitely not honey. If you're expecting like a Glenlivet 12 here, this would
go great with lamb.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Like, yeah, that would be the perfect meal with this. Lamb.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Didn't know we were getting there in the review, but yeah, there you go. Go grab yourself a Euro, folks. And there you go. Glen Scotia 15.
Folks, what we are going to do is grade this on a few scales.
This is not bad by any means.
Oh, no. But when we grade it, it will be on a single malt scotch, as a scotch, as a whiskey, and then last but not least, it's shelving, and then the secret fifth question.
Okay.
So, as a single malt scotch, Glen Scotia 15-year-old Campbelton single malt scotch, what would you grade this?
Again, let's reiterate. Basically, no interpretation other than this expression right here. Glen Scotia, 15-year from the Campbelton region. That's it. This is the only one I've tried from the Campbeltons.
Yep, this is our first taste in our life, but this is putting it up against any single malt in all Scotland. And you know that we've had a little bit of an exploration.
We've had a lot of single malts. We've had a lot of scotches, and in terms of the single malt,
we have.
I'm gonna give this a 2.5.
Ooh, ouch! As a single malt, I was gonna give this 3 stars. Okay,
I want to give it higher, but the sweetness is there. But like I said, it's not a genuine sweetness. It's a fake sweetness, and then the peat sets in on the palate.
This is one of the few times the peat does not offend me.
No, you're right.
Like, this is not so overbearing.
No, it's not.
Like, oh goodness, we could get into quite a few of them that are very overbearing, but
100%.
Beyond that, yeah, I'm going to stick with 3. Now, as a scotch, just putting it up against blended scotches, in my opinion, we've had better blended ones even this evening, but
very much so.
As a blended scotch, I am going to stick with 3 stars.
Yep. This is
as a scotch, just any old scotch.
This is
not blended, I'm sorry.
This is a 3-star scotch, and that actually disappoints me a lot because, again, the sweetness is very, very forced. I feel like the sweetness was almost an afterthought. Like, they're like, okay, we've got a decent scotch here. There's a little bit of peat influence. And again, let me go back in one more time. The initial flavor, I love it, and then it kind of settles. And then the peat kind of creeps up on you, and the peat's not my favorite thing in the world, but it's definitely not offensive. But there's almost nothing else going on there. And again, this is literally my favorite age expression, 15 years. When I think whiskey, and I think something that is going to appease to me 110%, I think 15 year, because for some reason nails it out of the park every time. This is leaving me just a little bit underwhelmed.
Wow. Alrighty. Yeah, I'm sticking with 3 for different reasons. Because again, peat is not my particular, to quote Austin Powers, it's not my bag, baby. But I can at least appreciate. Because, like,
when you do it right,
like they said on the box, you're kind of drinking history in a glass.
No, I agree.
Now, as a whiskey,
Oh, see, this one gets complicated.
That's a wide world of sports. We're talking bourbons, we're talking Scotch, we're talking Irish, we're talking Japanese, Canadian.
I'm gonna cop out on this one because I've graded a little bit unfairly on the previous two scales, and as a whiskey, I'm actually gonna be a little bit more generous because I'm gonna grade this with the mindset of this is a peated whiskey, and like you just said, this is not offensive at all in terms of peated whiskey. So I'm gonna give this a 3.75 on a whiskey scale.
Now me, I'm not gonna be nearly as generous.
Didn't figure. We've got completely different gratings, but I think we're thinking about
I am
this
going
the
to
same way.
give this as a whiskey 3 stars.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I think.
This is ascendant and it's above most in its class, but there is a lot of stuff that could. Now, granted, again, peat is not my
No,
particular category, but
nor mine.
so for me, this is a 3-star whiskey through and through, top to bottom. It's better than average, is how I would. Now, again, I'm curious what other kind of expressions and offerings can be had, not only from here, but from the Campbelton region, because we've
Right.
got a lot more exploration through the bottle to do of all the Scotch whiskey regions. I think it's fair to say I've at least explored one distillery in the Highlands pretty deep.
Anywho,
So we are going to find a way to get deeper into this exploration of all the Scotch whiskey regions, and we're going to do it with you folks. And then when we are done, we are going to be able to point out, nah, this is the Scotch you need. These other Scotches I don't know about. So now, Tony, shelving, top, middle, or bottom? Would you put this top shelf, middle shelf, or bottom shelf?
full disclosure, I have my whiskey shelving system set up very particularly, and it's not a knock on any of the boozes or liquids or juices that are in bottles. But I have my American whiskey, rye, and bourbon on the bottom just for easy reaching. I have my Irish on the middle, and I have my Scotch and single malts on the top. That has no bearing on my grading of this. And given the fact that I was not very kind to this in terms of grading up until this point, you would expect this to be very, very low. However, this is one that I would actually say exceeds expectations from a region that I'm not familiar with. And I think this is actually, it's a middle to a top because peat is something I'm not a fan of. But with this, not offensive, like you said. And I think this does it in a way that's actually invitable. And if we're talking several different regions of Scotland, you've got to appreciate all of them. And I think this is actually a pretty damn good representation of another one that we're not super familiar with.
Yep. And for me, it would be definitively middle because it's not bottom, it's not top.
No.
It's a decent conversation over the evening. And yeah, I would say definitely one to check out. Now,
You got to
Tony,
find the right person that's going to appreciate this.
the secret fifth question now, folks. When this bottle runs empty, Tony, what did this cost you, USD?
This one was about 40 to 50, give or take.
Let's call it $50 USD.
Okay.
When this runs empty, will you seek another?
No, I'm going to get the Glen Scotia Victoriana if I want to replace this specific brand.
I like where your head's at. So if that's the case, I'm going to explore deeper into the Campbelton region in general.
Absolutely.
And before I circle back to this one to see if that's where I want to land for a Campbelton.
Yep.
But folks, that has been our review of Glen Scotia 15. Tony, anything you'd like to say to the people?
Nope, this is definitely not what I expected, but definitely something different, and I like it.
Folks, as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining us this evening for our exploration into the Campbelton region of Scotch whiskey. I am your King of Extreme, the Lord of the Scottish Highlands, the Prince and Potentate of the political parlance, and also a lover of spirits, hoping to see all of you beautiful people back here at the K.O.E. Nation Check me out at K.O.E Nation YouTube and Twitch. Check him out, Tony the Rod, on TikTok. Until next time, folks, I will catch you on the flip side. Tony, take it away.
Thanks for joining us again, folks. Like, share, subscribe. Great stuff.